Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Mompreneur series. I am Amber Irwin, and I am so excited for our interview today with Miss Desiree. We're going to hear about her story, how she's been able to manage a freelance business while having two kids at home, and where this freelance business has been able to take her, how it's been for her. So I love interviewing other moms that have younger kids, and just having a freelance business it just gives you that freedom and flexibility. So tell us a little bit about you, Desiree.
Well, thanks for having me. First of all, it's awesome. And I'm starved for other mompreneurs. So this is awesome. I'm so excited that you let me be on your show. So my name is Desiree Martinez. I run a social media agency called All-in-One Social Media, where we help small businesses get seen and get results on social media for a low monthly cost through our subscription service. And I started this business back in 2015 when I saw this fantastic and great need for military spouses to have work. I'm actually a military spouse myself. We're in the Air Force. And when I had moved to this a really remote town, because that's where all the airplanes are here, there are all of these incredibly educated and experienced, mainly women, who could not get work in their town. This town we lived in, it was in Texas, so it was very oil driven and dependent upon the military base. So all of the jobs were things like fast food and retail, and then the actual city jobs were held by people that were locals. And so they couldn't get work. And they couldn't even get work in fast food or retail jobs because everyone knew they were military. And so they're like, well, you're going to leave, or your husband's going to have some need and you're not going to be able to show up to work one day or something like that. So it's a very common problem. And a very big percentage of military spouses are actually unemployed or underemployed. And I was like, I can fix this. I have this unique skill. I've been a social media marketer since 2009 and to run a business because I had done it before we went into the Air Force and I had my son. And I was like, I can do this. And so I started on social media to fuel two needs: one, to help businesses, and the other to put these military spouses to work wherever they get stationed around the world, while also making fair pay. Wow. So it gives them an alternative to working for themselves through a network marketing business, trying to go back to school for something and not have it pan out and things like that. So that's where it came from, and that's what we do.
That is so cool. So you guys, you said that you owned a business before. How long has your husband been in the Air Force?
So my husband has been in the Air Force since 2013.
Okay.
And our contract is up in 2019 where we will not be renewing. We went into the Air Force just basically for a lot of the needs. We were in a position in life where things were just very 20. We were in our mid to late 20s, and we're like, what do we do? How do we adult? How do we make this work? Right. And we grew up as military kids, and they were like, okay, maybe this is an option for us while we get our feet wet, while we figure out, while we grow our family. And so my husband went into the Air Force 3 months after we got married.
Wow.
And so we've done that, and we were pregnant, and so with my first son. And so it helped really fill a lot of needs that we needed, which the military is fantastic for. It gave my husband a very lucrative transferable skill. It allowed for me to have our kids without the worry of that financial burden that comes with it, especially because both of my kids were emergency C-sections and my daughter had spent time in the NICU. It's allowed for us to get some things we needed done. I had to have a knee surgery and ended up having a foot surgery. My husband's had some stuff done. And then, of course, the education benefit. My husband wants to be an engineer, robotics engineer specifically.
Okay.
And so it will help cover that education cost.
The joys of working at home with young kids.
Buddy, mommy's on the phone right now. So we'll have this conversation.
Have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. 2 and 4.
Do you want to say hi?
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you tell them your name?
I'm Flynn. I'm 4.
Flynn, and he's 4. Oh, hi, Flynn.
You can't hear me.
Yeah. Mommy has her headphones in. Okay. Can you go back and watch your show, and I'll be there in a minute? Yeah. Okay. We'll talk about donuts and Zoe later.
I love it.
Go on.
Were you in corporate America like before you owned your own business?
So my background is actually, I have a bachelor's of arts in multimedia art and animation.
Okay.
And my degree focuses on like 3D work along with video photography, graphic design, and things like that. And the thing I ran into is that I actually graduated from college right at the beginning of the recession when things were starting to have problems. And so the first thing to go when you guys, when the economy tanks is anything creative, because everyone thinks that that's the time to, cut bait and run. Yeah. And when in reality, especially in hindsight, you look back and it's actually the most important thing to have that like creative outlet, yes, that person to help you market your business and things like that. But so I actually really struggled with work. I had a lot of jobs that I lost that were all underpaid, incredibly underpaid, that basically pushed me into entrepreneurship. And I was living in Phoenix at the time. I had to move back with my parents, like a lot of people at that time. And I was trying to find freelance work while also teaching swim lessons. I was a swim teacher. And I wasn't going to use my degree. And so people started asking me about this Facebook thing. I was very young amongst all of these networkers. And they were like, what is this Facebook thing? My kids keep talking about it, and like I get these requests, and I got on it, and I don't know what to do with this. And so I used teaching people what Facebook is and how they could use it, like what the tool was. I had had it since college. I'd had it for years at this time, and I used it as leveraging as a networking tool. And one day, this guy named Kevin was like, Desiree, you should do this as a business. And I was like, Kevin, you're crazy. No one's gonna pay me to be on Facebook for them. Like I have pictures of me celebrating soccer games and drinking with my friends. Like, one sec, I'm sorry. What's that?
All done.
You're all done with what?
I'm hungry.
Well, you have a banana and toast on the table. Go eat. Mommy's trying to do this. I'm working, okay? If you need, go ahead, go see. Go on. You can do this. This is my daughter. Yeah. They're both here.
Hi.
Say hi. Can you say hi?
She's being shy.
Go on, baby. Huh? You want to say hi now? Okay. Anyway, so I went home after figuring out this this idea that was planted in my head, and people were starting to actually do it. And so I was like, maybe I can actually do this. And so I started doing it. I started helping people build their Facebook business pages, designing them, posting for them, and I've just done it ever since.
Wow.
And my husband and our decision to go into the military was just because my business was doing well, but it was just really unstable. And since we were on like the family track, we were like, we need to
have that stability a little bit.
Yeah, we need to see like what are our options. And so I had just decided to like keep servicing the clients I had and just let it kind of fizzle out versus actively looking for business, especially because networking was such a big part of my business. And when you move to middle of nowhere, Texas, it becomes kind of hard.
Yeah. There's not a lot of networking opportunities, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So since you've been in business by yourself, like it was kind of one of those things that it sounds like it was just an opportunity that had come up and you kind of took the leap and you're like, I'm going to do this and see where it goes. Have you ever looked back on working for yourself or wish you went into corporate America? How has that journey been as a freelancer?
I wanted nothing more than to be a part of corporate America, but everything in corporate America was like, no. Yeah. I had government contract jobs. I've had a ton of opportunities to work for bigger businesses, and it just doesn't always work out that way for me. And I know that it's like, was it a leap of faith for you to start your own business or whatever? And I would say initially, no, it was not. It was a need. I had bills to pay. I needed, I had a life. I had a car. I had my student loans, and I had to make money.
Yep.
I think that the two bigger leaps of faith that I had to make in my life were going into the Air Force with my husband and committing to the life that it was. We didn't know if we were going to come in and do the full, it's called the full 20, where you go for retirement
Okay.
We didn't know if we were going to do that or not, and just be like committed to being away from our friends and family that we had built such a strong relationship with at that time. And just embracing just us and what we wanted to do. But we know now that military life for the contract is not right for us. And so we are our next leap of faith. We're literally in it. We are in where my business is going to replace my husband's income, if not exceed it, so that he is able to do what he wants, which is go to school and, as he puts it, tinker and build things and do stuff and take care of our kids while I work, which is what I like to do.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what has been one of the biggest obstacles that you've had since you've started this freelance business? So you're still working with the military wives to help them be able to create a company for themselves, but or not necessarily a company, but being able to have a job where they can work from home, be with their children, and then you still have clients, that you guys all service. Is that right?
Yeah. The hardest part about my business has actually nothing to do with running my business. I feel like I'm in a fortunate place where I have figured out how to run my business very smoothly. I mean, I can always spend more time doing things I want to do, like better email marketing or go to retreats or do more videos and things like that, or, make my own personal podcast better, things like that. But the actual hardest part about running my business is the negative part about being in the military. My husband deployed in 2016, and it was really hard on us because I was stuck running a new business. It was still less than a year old with a new 2-year-old and a 9-month-old. And I was alone, and I didn't have any family. I had a very, the military community in the base we were at was not as strong as the other bases that we've been at, or even the bases that I grew up with. And I was alone, and I was dealing with a lot of postpartum and depression and frustration. And then on top of it, my husband was dealing with stuff on his end because he was, supporting war. So we've been dealing with a lot of like that emotional trauma that has come up still to this day. And so every day is hard, and I know that we know what we need to do to get out of it, and it's just not as easy as flipping a light switch. And so that emotional drain that has been caused by a life that we did choose has been the hardest part of running my business, because if I had my way, I would just work all the time.
Yeah.
I get my fulfillment, my personal fulfillment, through my work.
Yes.
Or my kids and my husband are my heart. They're my big why. But I don't get fulfillment from motherhood. I get joy and happiness and gray hair from it, not the fulfillment that I get from running my own business and helping other people.
That's so funny that you say that. I feel like I'm the exact same way with when we started our company. I didn't know that it's what I wanted to do, or I didn't think that it was what I wanted to do, but it was just, I kind of fell into it because, similar to you, people started asking me about, well, what's Facebook, what's Twitter, and so I kind of dove into it. But when I had a child, people start asking me like, well, what are you going to do with your business? Are you going to stay home? And I'm like, no, I love to work. And my business partner, Caitlin, she's really, really good at being able to put her phone down for like the night and not check emails till the morning, or, she's really good on setting those boundaries. But I love to work. I could work all day long. And so, but that's why we do what we do, because we're able to work when we want to work, and we're able to create that schedule. And that's why you're so good at what you do, is because you find that joy and that fulfillment in your business. Mm-hmm. That's so cool. So you're home with the kids. They're 2 and 4. They're still probably pretty young to really see like the benefits of you being an entrepreneur and what it's been able to do for the family. As they get older, like, do you think by owning your own business that it's going to be beneficial for them to see how you're able to be successful being a freelancer?
I think that by being hopefully being a family that is just entrepreneurial driven, they're not going to understand corporate life as much. I know that they'll be able to go back and say, yeah, my dad was in the ultimate corporate job. He was in the military.
Yeah.
And my mom was just kind of always there when we needed her or not there. I think it's going to show them is that they have options and that there's more to making money than going to college, getting a degree that's overpriced, and getting some job working in a cubicle, because it's not I personally have done it. I don't know. I hate it. But my dad does that. My dad loves his job. So, I mean, I think it's just about finding what is right for them and making sure they know what options they are. And I think that by seeing someone that's their parent who is an entrepreneur is going to let them know that that is an option, because like, well, I grew up this way. Why would I do anything else? Or this is an option for me. And I think that it's going to empower them to have that control over their life and what they get to do. Like my kids, I'm hoping that will never understand, like, my parents weren't there because their job told them they couldn't be.
Yes.
So,
and
I mean, it's different where it's like, I can't be there because I'm in another city speaking or I'm working on this client thing, and that's different. But we have our priority is to be one income, to be like a one income led family. So
well, and the cool thing too with what you do is, if you have these speaking engagements all over, I mean, the family could come too, and your husband's not going to be deployed, and so you can make it a family vacation and still be working and getting paid and thriving in what you do, and the family's a part of it if you want it to be.
I have RV aspirations. Don't worry. It's, but yeah. So no, and that's a way to look at it for us too. We don't know what we're going to do with them for school. I've been learning more and more that like regular public schools and stuff are pretty strict about time away from school, which I think is super dumb. If they're like,
they're traveling, they're exploring.
They're keeping up with the schoolwork and they're learning while they're doing stuff. Like, why? So there's actually kind of a reality that we're actually having a conversation about homeschooling, or finding maybe like someone that help, like a co-op or an au pair or whatever those like kinds of options are. We have to obviously look at everything and the money, but yeah.
It's definitely that was an adjustment. My daughter starts kindergarten in August, and we're used to just picking up and leaving whenever we want. And so now we're, looking at our 2019 vacations, and I'm like, oh, okay, we can only go during the spring break. We can only do this. And I'm like, I'm gonna, probably end up.
I think that going on vacation when everyone else is going on vacation sounds horrid. So you do you.
Yeah, exactly. So now you work. So the military. Women that you work with, can they be anywhere?
Yeah, we have military spouses stationed all over the world. Some are in Korea, some are in South Carolina, Texas, California. Wherever they are working, or wherever they're living, they get to work. We usually have a period of adjustment. Like, we're actually going through that right now. So the summer is PCS season, which is permanent change of station. Where you move to another base, and that's what we deal with in the summer. And some of us are dealing with that. One of my girls is having her third baby, and she's a Marine Corps spouse, and her husband is deploying like 6 weeks after he's born. And so just like these are the kinds of like things that we kind of are dealing with on like a thing, but doesn't interfere with the work, because unlike other companies where it's like, I am a military spouse, everybody else is quote unquote normal, we are all a community of military spouses, and we understand and we pick up the slack where it's needed.
Definitely. Yeah.
So I can message someone who's not moving and not having a kid and like, hey, this girl is having this military related struggle, can you do this? And I'm like, of course, let me dive in and do it. Because I mean, it's not just like, oh, I get paid to do it. It's my fellow military spouse needs help.
Yeah. And that's what we do. It's about building that community.
We jump in for sure.
That's awesome. Okay. So if there's anyone that's military spouses that are interested, they can go to your website, email you, and be able to connect with you through your website if they're interested in working with you.
Yeah, they can go to allaonesocialmedia.com/careers to apply. I just need to, it's a normal process. It's cover letter, resume, and then I do ask that you be a military spouse. You're a contractor working with us, so not one's employed, so it's like that's what allows that flexibility.
Yes.
And then we just kind of go through a bit of a testing process, and if it works, it works. And at this moment, I need people, so
okay,
apply.
Well, let's get the word out there. And last question: what's one piece of advice that you would give another mom that was thinking of starting a freelance business?
I have a lot of advice and a lot of thoughts on this. Let me tell you.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I would say the number one thing is just do it. You'll figure it out along the way. The first day of you owning your business is not going to be magical and perfect. It's supposed to be hard. It's supposed to be rough. It's supposed to be confusing. It's supposed to be frustrating because you're trying to figure it out while also keeping people alive. I mean, that's hard. Keeping people alive is hard in its own. So trying to also do something for yourself is also makes it just that much harder. So I would say just do it. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But you can't expect that or hope that or predict it. Just do it. Just start the business, buy the package, send out an email, build the website, do it, figure it out. And then from that, you're going to need to set a schedule for yourself. Are you a nap time empire? I get up early and take care of it before my kids get up because I'm lucky and my kids sleep in? Or are you my kids are in bed at 7, so 7:05 I check in to work at night? Figure out when you work. And my last piece of advice to this is you having a business is financial freedom. It is flexibility. It is fulfillment. It is happiness. It is connectivity to the outside world. Don't worry about your house. Your house, and by your house, I mean it doesn't have to be clean. Your dishes don't always have to be done. The trash can overflow sometimes. It's okay to get takeout for 3 nights in a row because you're too exhausted to cook. Those problems are literally there every day, no matter what. But they're just constant. And in my opinion, they're kind of drains. While they're things that have to get done, right, they're not the most important thing. You shouldn't be I really need to do these dishes before I accomplish something today. Right. So that's my advice. Just do it, figure out a schedule, and don't obsess about your house being messy because
let those expectations.
You've got kids, it's going to be messy no matter what. Anyway.
Yeah. Well,
and maybe you get to the point where you're just making enough so that you don't have to clean it, and someone comes and does it for you every week. Yeah. That's the dream, right?
But that's an important tool because letting go of those expectations of that perfection. Not everything is going to be perfect, and that's okay. Oh, goodness. Well, we will not keep you anymore from your kids. I so appreciate your time this morning, Desiree. I'm so excited to let military spouses know about your service and hopefully get you some more help and grow your business. And I really appreciate your time.
No, thank you. And thank you again for what you do. This is important. There's nothing more lonely than being a mom growing her own business. So connect.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you for what you do too. I really appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Desiree. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.